Hello, welcome everyone to today's Angel Insight. And we have something new and exciting for you that you didn't know about, so stay tuned and you'll learn more. Be right back. Warning: do not listen to this recording while operating a moving vehicle or while needing full conscious alertness. This recording is for adults 18 years and older. So we'll go ahead and start today by sending you some distance Reiki. Reiki is a form of energy healing, and we want to help you open your energetic channels so you'll be open to receiving the messages today from your angels. So go ahead now and take in a deep, deep breath and slowly let it go. Let go of everything that's preventing you from relaxing and feeling wonderfully good. Let go. Let go of everything that's preventing you from living on earth as it is in heaven. And as you relax, I will continue to send this Reiki throughout the rest of our angel readings today. Okay, so here we are. Thank you for being here today. And for the last week, we've been having daily angel card readings for each of the different zodiac signs. But you notice here we now have a new name called Angel Insight, and it says no more training wheels. So that first week was kind of like a boot camp for you. A lot of people have come to this channel, have been to many other tarot card readers and zodiac horoscope people and angel card readers and all that. And they're used to identifying who they are via their signs. So, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, etc. And while that is a dimension of who we are, that is only one peek into who we are. And so there's something that I'd like to help explain is that, at times I will continue to reference, in fact, today, in this last day of No More Training Wheels, we will continue, this will be our last day for specific signs for an angel card reading. But going forward, I'd like us all to hold this concept and learn this very important universal truth, is that we are all one being. And it's a matter of our perception. Okay, so right now, you and I probably are perceiving ourselves. So like I'm Paul, and this is my envelope. And within my envelope of Paul, I have my circulatory system, my nervous system, my respiratory system. If I go down deeper, I have cells, and within the cells I have mitochondria and DNA. And I can go down deeper, and I have molecules and atoms, and within the atoms there's the nucleus and electrons, protons, neutrons, all these things. But then we can go the other direction. So Paul is living in a city which is in the state of California, which is in the United States of America, which is on the planet Earth, which is in the Milky Way, on and on. And it's our matter of perception of what we're looking at. So as long as I hold the belief that I am separate from you, then I'm limiting myself. Okay? So when God is choosing us as his vessel to live, see, God is not divided. God is one. There is only one God. But in his creation, he has chosen to create a universe which delights him and is a reflection of him. So those who read the Bible, and I'm not saying you need to read the Bible, but in the story of creation, it says that when God created man and woman, he created them in his image and likeness. Okay? And so too, the rest of creation is a reflection of God. And in the story of Adam and Eve, when he's creating Adam, God gets down in the clay and he's, down on his hands and knees. Now, this is just imagery so we can relate to it as humans, but God is down in the clay and he's forming Adam out of the earth. And Adam means earth creature. And so when he's done with this beautiful creation, so think of like Michelangelo, and he's sculpting David, the statue, and he's putting his love in this beautiful insight, and the every detail was important to Michelangelo, but it's also important to God. And if you think of how complex we are with all of these different systems within us, the respiratory system and the trillions of cells and, the atoms, and, it's just mind-boggling. And that's just for one person. But then you look at the almost infinite number of types of beings and creations, throughout the universe. What an incredible, complex, yet simple design. And the simplicity of it is that it is a reflection of one God. And we, being chosen as part of that creation, are a reflection of that. So back to the story of Adam. So God's fashioning Adam out of clay. He's putting every detail into him. And to seal the deal, when he was done with this beautiful creation, what does he do? He breathes in the nostrils of Adam. He breathes his breath of life, and Adam comes to life. And from that moment on, every breath that Adam took was God choosing to breathe through him. And every breath that I take and every breath that you take is God still choosing to breathe through us. He's choosing us as his vessel to live and to experience this creation for God. And one unique thing that we have is free will. So with this free will, we continually affect the rest of creation. So based on my decisions, no matter what I do, because we know about the law of cause and effect. If I drop a pebble in a pond of water, it ripples out and it continues to go out and out and out. And so that pebble has permanently changed the future of that pond. That pond will never be the same. And so too, for every decision that I make, I permanently change the future of all of creation. Now imagine every single entity within the universe that is making decisions and acting and reacting. So reacting is an important one to think about. When we act and react, our reaction is a permanent change to every being, every facet of creation, permanently going forward in the future. This is very complex, yet it's very simple, is that we were created by God to be like him. We have this infinite ability to create, to manifest, to attract, to influence. It just goes on and on and on. Because we were created and we have a soul, the soul now lives on for all eternity, either in alignment with God's plan or in our free will, which can absolutely go against God's plan. But that's part of the dynamic we're trying to learn here is how do we, because we're promised heaven. In fact, we had heaven, but through our own actions and our state of being, our mindset, we continually choose to be and to live outside of heaven and earth. And for those who are Christians, you've heard, in the Bible, Jesus, the Lord's Prayer, the prayer that Jesus taught us, they say. And in that prayer it says, "Thy will be done." So God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Now, how many of the people listening to this who are Christian have prayed that prayer thousands of times but never really paid attention to what they were saying? Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Somehow people think that heaven will come after we die, that it's out there, over there, somewhere else. Yet we pray daily that thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, as if it's not even possible that heaven is here right now. Now, if you think about God, and we are reflections of God, everything that is God, meaning we are all reflections of God. And with this in mind, we then have to know that if we want heaven, and we are promised heaven, and we pray that heaven is on earth, like God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven, if we capture that essence and God's breathing through us, we're also told that we're temples of the Holy Spirit. What that means is the Holy Spirit, God dwells within us. We're a temple. We're like a beautiful tabernacle which contains the most glorious, incredible being that could possibly ever be. All right. So when we're making these decisions, the law of cause and effect, and we react, how do we react, and what are we deciding? This takes us back to this concept of all one being. Okay, so if I choose love, then that permanently affects you and everyone else, even if you're not aware of it. Now, if I choose violence, that's going to affect everyone. So if we think about our childhoods, and some people had amazing childhoods, other people didn't. But regardless, the training we received as children has brought us to where we are today. That's why we have different faiths. People have different faiths because of what they were taught by their parents. Very few people, just like if your parents taught you zero religion, then it's not until your adulthood that the children, that the person acquired religion. But for the vast majority of people who believe in religion, it was taught to them by prior generations. Generations upon generations upon generations of people believing and carrying on their faith. Okay? And so that initial decision in alignment with that faith has been carried on for generations, like the pebble in the pond. And so that brings us to today. And as I explained yesterday, is that today we're comprised of our past, like all these things that we've been taught. But unfortunately, what we were taught between the ages of 0 and 7 or 8, and 7 and 8 we have the age of reasoning, where we're able to decide for ourselves what we accept as true or false. Okay, so psychologically, this at age 7 or 8, we create what's called the critical factor. It's like a fence, and it will allow certain ideas to enter into our subconscious that we accept, and then it rejects other concepts that we do not believe is to be true. So, as I was saying in the other recording, is that between the ages of 0 and 7, the child is learning language, and what happens is, so here's my cell phone. Okay, here's a cell phone. And I'm 1 year old, and they teach the child, unfortunately, cell phone. What a horrible thing to teach a 1-year-old. But, cell phone. And, they learn mama, dada, apple, orange, banana. And then eventually they learn their colors, red, blue, green, orange. And so if in the beginning, first day, I say, oh, look, blue, blue. And so the baby's like, blue. And tomorrow, if someone else who's colorblind says, orange, oh, orange. And then Grandpa comes and says, blue, blue. The more you hear blue, the baby's going to accept and eventually recognize this as blue. But it has no clue. It's taught that it's blue. But sometimes information's not correct. But when there's consistency of teaching this information, the child forms an opinion, and it becomes a truth for them that becomes blue. So let's say at the age of 7 or 8, and we have the critical factor formed in the child, and I say blue, then yes, blue is allowed to go into the subconscious and say, yeah, that's blue. But if at 7 or 8 I say orange, it's gonna, why are you, that's not orange. And I literally remember being that age, and I was testing my grandmother. We were at this county facility, and I was supposed to get immunized, and no one likes shots, but we were sitting there waiting, and it was a really neat building, and I clearly remember this. It was like the first time ever I thought I was kind of smart. So I sat there, and I said to my grandmother, what color is that, or something like that. It had to do with colors, and I think I said, is that green? And she says, no, that's not green. And, I knew it was green, but I wanted to see if, she knew what I knew. Now, that sounds so silly, and it is silly, but honestly, that was really the first moment that I remember having this, knowing the difference and being able to test people and to, think for myself instead of being told what to do, Now, I'll be 54 in July, and I'm still told what to do by my family, but that's okay because I'm an adult now, and I can decide what's good for me and what's not good for me. And I can honor them and say, well, thank you for your advice, instead of getting upset. And because before it's like, oh my God, I'm an adult, can't I make my own decisions? And people mean well, but whatever. Okay, so unfortunately, between 0 and 7 or 8, because 7 or 8, that's when the lid is put down on the subconscious. And the subconscious is where we create these concepts of who we are and our identity, who we are at our inner core of our being. Now, that's kind of a constructed inner core, because I honestly believe that who we are at the inner core of our being is our soul, and these are divine traits which are universal. So love, generosity, being of service, these certain things that we are all called to do, we all recognize as beautiful things. And it's really what we need to recapture and to find the insight into living in our lives today. But way back then, between 0 and 7 and 8, we learned a lot of, pardon the word, crap. And we might have witnessed things that were things that children should not witness, like violence or, alcoholism, drug abuse, whatever. And so, unfortunately, the children are trained and they become like their parents. You know, if a parent's a Democrat or a parent's Republican, most likely the children will be Democrats or Republican. It's just the way it works. If a parent's a drug addict, many times the child becomes a drug addict. All right. Now, one concept, because in case you didn't know, I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist. And so, what we do working in hypnosis is we're able to bypass this, what's called the critical factor, bypass the lid on the subconscious. We relax it and we let it fade away for a while, and then we speak to the subconscious, and we can replace limiting beliefs like, you're no good, or you can never amount to anything, you can't do anything right, you're a bad kid, all these things that we're told. And maybe for 1 second we were bad or something, like, we did something that we shouldn't have done. You're a bad boy, spank, spank, spank. Well, unfortunately, all that information under the age of 7 and 8 is still down there for every single one of us. And through hypnosis, we can reprogram that, ditch the old stuff that doesn't align with what we want for ourselves, and replace it with new thoughts and new concepts for ourselves, and be healthy. Okay? And so that's one approach, hypnosis. And you've seen at the end of my videos, I have another website called hypnomark.com. There's some free videos you can sign up for, they're downloads where you can, do some hypnosis sessions and stuff. That's not my point. What my videos on this channel are all about is to give you insight into where we need to grow, where we need healing from the past. You don't need hypnosis. You can do it on your own by listening, learning to listen to your inner wisdom, which is the voice of God. But the angels are assistants. They are assigned to us. They are so close and intimate to us. They know everything about us. And we can never, ever, 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 ever offend our angels, ever. Because they're charged with protecting our free will. They know that we have free will, and that was God's gift for us, to have free will. God does not want to take away our free will. But God knows that there are temptations, and so he assigns these angels, and it's not one. We have many angels available to us. We can never bother them. We're not taking them away from someone else. Don't worry, they're there. Okay. But how do we talk to them? How do we communicate with them? How do we know what they're saying? Okay. Well, it wasn't until, I can tell my story another day about how I began to become very intimate with my angels. Because when I was a child, I was raised with the notion of angels. Like every time I would spend the night at my one grandmother's house, above the bed, I remember she had a picture of the guardian angels, and she would make us, it was a picture of Jesus, and she would make us pray the guardian angel prayer every night, every night, every night. And so I had a concept of the angels, but I didn't really have a relationship with them. And it wasn't a matter of my faith. They were there, but, I didn't really pay attention until I was an adult. And after, actually, I became a hypnotherapist and working with clients. I'm not going to get into that on this video, but I will get into it in another video, okay? Which was incredible. All right, but what I learned is to listen, and that, see, I love to operate in my heart space. I love love. I love just this emotion of, it just feels so good. And it's being generous with that love. I have so much love to give. I want to give it to everyone. All right. But once in a while, my head speaks up and says, Paul, come on, that's not very logical. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I should do this other thing. But that's very rare. And even more rare, I don't pay attention to this. And then the gut says, all right, Paul, wait a minute. Pay attention. What are you doing? And it's not a logical thing. It's more of a gut thing. But over time, I always thought, well, that's just me. A different aspect of me. Your brain is more logical than your heart, obviously. Duh, right? That's what I don't believe that now. I honestly believe that. So I operate in my heart space, which is me. That's my soul. That's where my inner core of my being. And when I somehow stray from the inner core, the brain will speak up and say, Paul, that's not very logical. Are you sure you want to do that? Now, it sounds like me. It feels like, like it's coming up here in the brain, that where it's coming from. But if you really listen closely, that voice that speaks up, it isn't you. And I have discovered those are my angels. That this is where my angels speak to me. And I always point over here on this side of the head, because this is on the side that I hear them. Okay? And where I can contact them. And like when I give the readings to you, I'm listening over here for their guidance and what to say. Okay? So all this stuff I'm telling you, I'm not making it up, and I'm not telling, it's not me that's wanting to tell you this. They want me to tell you these stories. Now, it's my life experience, and I have to put them in my words, but they're saying, oh, Paul, don't forget to tell them this. All right. So what we call our intuition, so we have intuition either in our brain, in our heart, in our gut. These are different angels that speak to us who have different roles, different specialties, let's put it that way. All right. And so the voice sounds different than you. I mean, it sounds so similar that you think it's you, because you've your whole life that angel's been with you, and that's the voice you thought was you. No, it's your angels. And then not only does it sound different than you, it feels different than you. It feels, it's a different type of energy than where you resonate within your inner core. Okay, so that's how you can connect to your angels is, first of all, be aware that you have them, and second is to know that what you call your intuition, or we call our intuition, is not actually you, but these angels who are communicating with you, and they're so intimate with us, like they're so close to us. They know us inside and out. We actually feel that they're us. And so we're going to learn to listen over and over and over again, so that you don't need to have a card reading. I'm going to give a card reading today just so you can see, how I'm listening. And cards can be a tool, but eventually you need to throw the cards out. Okay, I only use the cards because when I'm working with, I have my guides for me, and I'm what's called a medium. So I go between my guides and your guides, and I give a message. And, it's really none of my business what you do or how you do it. And I was talking to a friend the other day, and I was saying, it's none of my business if someone drinks or does drugs, or it's none of my business, even if they're my friends and family. But I love them. I have my idea that perhaps they shouldn't be doing that. But honestly, because these people, everyone has free will, that's their choice. I have my opinions, but I can't insert myself into their free will, because then it wouldn't be free anymore, would it? We need our free will in order to have our independence and to exercise that gift that God has given us by his creation, because God has free will. And so that's that. The point of my channel, the point of you being here, for all of us. So every word I say to you, I have to say to myself as well, is that whatever's in the past, and if you, this whole week, if you've been listening and watching these videos, if you haven't started from the beginning, go back to day 1 and listen to all the signs. Now you can listen to yours when you have time. Like if you have a little amount of time, just listen to your sign. So I'm a Leo. I should be listening to Leo. But when you have more time, start at the beginning and listen through to all the signs, because I tell stories that we all need to hear. They pertain to all of us, and we're all one being. We're all connected. These are what I say are universal truths. I did not invent them. They are echoes of the truth. The words I use, we already know this stuff. I'm not saying anything new. All right? But it's being told to you. You're hearing it at this moment, no matter when you listen to this, because it's time for you to be reminded that you are profoundly loved. You are cherished. You are God's gift to himself. And every breath that you take and every breath that I take is God choosing us as his vessel to live. And that when we pray the Our Father, where it says, thy will be done, God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven, that is the key that we need to unlock the door at the gate, because we've stepped outside of heaven somehow, and I'll clarify that in a second. But if we use our tools, we open the gate, and then we can be on earth as it is in heaven. So is heaven out there, over there, somewhere else? No. Heaven is right here, right now, always and eternally. But we perceive ourselves. Remember these envelopes? So I'm perceiving me as Paul, and you're you. And for those of us who think that heaven's somewhere in the future, somewhere else, that's your perception that you are somehow separate from all of creation. You are somehow separate from the universe. Or like when you go out into nature and you see the beautiful forest and there's a waterfall and you're like, oh, it's so beautiful. Why are we impressed at the beauty of a waterfall? We are equally as beautiful. We are equally part of the same creation. But what's really beautiful about it is that we get to take our beauty and go out to everyone we encounter, and we can let our light shine and share our love and share our generosity and be of service. This is the greatest gift. It's just absolutely incredible. But what do we do? Or what has happened is that we've been trained by generations and generations and generations of people, our family, that we are not worthy. And that's not the truth. So, I mean, I know I talk a lot about Christianity here, and you do not have to be Christian to know this, because you already know this. No matter who you are worthy. But in Christianity, it says that Jesus purchased our sins. Our sins have been redeemed. Our sins they're gone. Okay, so basically, if you go to a grocery store and you have a coupon for, $1 off some coffee, you give the coupon to the cashier. They take the coupon. You don't get to keep it. And you have your coffee. Well, Jesus purchased our sins. He has redeemed us. So he's taken our sins. That's the coupon. He took the sins. We don't get them back. They have been forgiven. And now it's our turn to receive the grace to accept that beautiful gift of mercy. And also in the Bible it says that God's mercy outweighs his judgment. It's beautiful. It's hard to fathom, because as humans, how hard is it for us to forgive the people who have offended us? Very difficult. Very difficult. But guess what, everyone? That's what we have to do. Because it's easy to love nice people. It's easy to love good people. It's easy to love people who love us. But if you're a Christian, what is the greatest commandment? To love God. And the second commandment is like it, to love your neighbors as yourself. And ultimately, the granddaddy of them all, to love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. So, is it a tall order? It might sound like it. It's not. It is not. It is not. You and I can do this. We can love one another. And it is through our love that all the past can be healed. It is through love that we can be on earth as it is in heaven. But, as I've said before, I used to think love and forgiveness were two separate things. They are not. We have love, and forgiveness is a dimension of love. You cannot love unless and until you forgive. Okay? So, these angel insights. So going forward, we're not going to have these everyday readings for every single sign. That was kind of like the bait, okay? Because people are used to identifying themselves as a Leo, as a Gemini, all these different signs. Yeah, you are. You are a Leo, you are a Gemini. But that's an envelope. And that envelope is somehow separating us from everyone else. As if a message for a Gemini isn't important for a Leo. Of course it's important for a Leo, because we're all one being. This envelope is artificial. It's my perception, which is false. So the cell within my liver, it might not be aware of the cell in my brain, but does that mean it's not part of me? And if I'm not, this envelope of Paul might not fully understand or comprehend the entire dimensions of the universe, but does that mean I'm not part of the universe? No, we're all part of the universe. And the universe is God. So we really have to change the way we're thinking. And that's what this channel is about, is to help us to open our eyes, to expand our awareness from our envelope. We're not going to think about me anymore. We're thinking about us. All one being. And it's through all one being that we can be on earth as it is in heaven. Every action that I take permanently affects the future of everyone. So what I'm going to do, I'm choosing, and I'm committing to you today, I'm choosing love. Whether you're aware of it or not, I'm sending you love. I love you. You are profoundly loved. And hopefully someday you can say the same. Not only to me, but to everyone, especially the people in the past who have hurt you, so that we can heal those wounds and we can illuminate the darkness and release the tragedy and the trauma and the things that are so unbearable to carry. Because I promise you that those things brought you to today, and they've given you the opportunity to give yourself a gift, which is forgiveness, not only of them, but of yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with the past and the people in your past, because they are all one being. We're all together in this. All right. And so one last thing from the Bible. It says to do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. This is the golden rule. I think every religion has it. It's in many, many religions, the golden rule. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Why? Because we're all one being. We are all on earth as it is in heaven. And what is heaven? Heaven is where God is, where God dwells, and God is everywhere. There is nowhere that God isn't. Okay, so that was like a big lesson, a big insight. But if you can understand what I just said, replay it over and over and over and over and over and over again until you get it. Because honestly, there's nothing else you need to know. If you know that, then you are being on earth as it is in heaven. Because we have forgiven and we live in love. That's what this is all about. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and address all the different signs. So Aries, Taurus, Gemini, etc. with the concept that we're not going to have any more training wheels. Okay. And today's reading will be, I don't want to say the last, but it's the last of what I'm calling the boot camp. When you have time, I want you to go back and watch every single one of the boot camp series. Because although it's labeled as a sign that's not yours, like a Gemini, or, you're not a Gemini, you're a Taurus, let's say. Those messages are universal truths for all of us. So let's participate in the boot camp. And from this moment forward, because you've listened to this angel insight, you've listened to this message, there's no more training wheels. We know we have all the skills that we need to be on earth as it is in heaven. Now, does that mean we're perfect? No. We still have free will. And we're learning because, remember, we all have free will. And someone else might still offend us. But now, what are we going to do with that reaction? How are we going to react when someone offends us? How are we going to react? Remember the buttons? Big old buttons we're carrying around? What happens when someone pushes that button now? Remember, we need to be aware of the button. And you might find new buttons. But now that you're aware of your button and someone pushes it, are we going to fight? Or say, oh gosh, you pushed my button. Thank you so much for pushing it, because now I can return it with love. I'm grateful for that button, because now I realize that you're not hurting me. You're not offending me. Someone in my past has hurt me and offended me, and I now know where I can heal myself and send love not only to the past, but to that person. And love means forgiving them. Isn't that wonderful? Okay, so as we progress, we're going to find the buttons. We're going to find every day new ways to forgive, new ways to love. And in your relationships, your career, everything, no matter every dimension of your life is going to get better, because you're seeing with new eyes. You are being on earth as it is in heaven, which allows us to celebrate, to live in joy, to live in love and gratitude. So start each day with gratitude, and a lot will be learned. All right, so let's go ahead now, and we will say hello to our Aries friends. Aries, how are you doing today? So today is the last day of the boot camp, where there's no more training wheels, because you've gotten the message. If you didn't listen to the message just before this, where it says Angel Insight, you need to go back and listen to the Angel Insight, because that is a whopper. Like it breaks it down to what we all need to know. So what I'm asking for now, as I shuffle these cards, is insight for our last day of the boot camp for Aries. What's the thing? What can be illuminated today so that the Aries can heal these wounds and move forward into and be on earth as it is in heaven. So Aries, what messages and insight can the angels give us today so that you can truly be and live on earth as it is in heaven? Okay. I love it. So far, so good. Everything's good. Everything is good. Okay. So, Aries, on our last day of the boot camp, no more training wheels. Okay. The foundation for what Aries is being asked to do is to reconnect to what they were like as a child. Now, this is for all of us. Every one of us needs to listen to every one of these signs. Okay, but right now, Aries might only have time to listen to Aries, so I'm addressing Aries. But when we all come back and listen to the whole thing, and I have to listen to these videos too, because I'm part of us, right? So the message for Aries and for all of us is to reconnect to what we believed, to our childhood innocence. See, when you're a child, anything and everything is possible. There are no limitations until the adults in our lives say, what are you, a dreamer? You need to wake up. You need to get a job. You need to pay your bills. And, you got to stop dreaming. Well, yes, we do have to pay our bills. There's responsibility we have through the choices we make in our life. But we do not have to stop dreaming. Those dreams are inspirations from God, and the angels remind us of these things because we have special gifts that are unique to us. And we're dreaming these things not for me, but for all of us. If we are told by generations and generations and generations of people who are told to not dream, why are we not in heaven? It's because they've told us not to be. It's sin. That's evil. We have inspiration in dreams because that's what God, He's inspiring us to do these things. We were created and meant to do these things. Those things are going to bring you joy and me joy. But when we accomplish them and we be them and, we bring life to them, what happens? Everyone benefits because you're happy. I'm happy that you're happy. And you might be creating a tool or something that is going to help all of us. So Aries, just like the Bible says, to be like the children. Children are pure love. They learn to hate is what happens. Children learn hate. But before that, what are they? They are God living on earth through those children. They are pure love. All right. So Aries, reconnect to your childhood dreams and fantasies and be like the child. Be simple and don't let anyone take away your dignity. Don't anyone take away your dreams. And what we're talking about here is manifesting. So it's one thing to dream, but if you never do anything about it, well, that's a waste. It's like fantasy land, and that's not what we're talking about here. You connect to your dreams, these inspirations, and then you attract them through the law of attraction, which means you identify what it is, and then you cooperate with the process of receiving. If you want to go to Europe, you can't just go to Europe. There's a process to going to Europe. You have to have a passport photo, a passport application. When you can get those 3 steps down, well, then you're that much closer to getting to Europe. And just like these inspirations of yours, you identify them, and then you attract them, and then you follow the process of that. Okay, Aries, and everyone else who's listening, that's your message for today and for life. Okay? Because what you do and what we're going to do with this message of manifestation and dreaming and connecting to being our childhood it's going to help all of us, all one being, to be and live on earth as it is in heaven. All right? So Aries, let's go for it. All right? So keep checking in. Every day I'll have videos, but they're not going to be our typical card reading, because at the cards, I may have cards, but who knows what's going to happen. All right? So keep coming back. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video, because the more we can get the momentum going, the quicker we can heal all these tragedies that are happening in our planet right now. The divisions among the people, the hatred among political parties, and the damage we're doing to the earth, and just our total unawareness of everyone's so separate. So let's reconnect and let's do it. Let's live in heaven. All right. Thank you, Aries. We'll see you next time. All right. Welcome, Taurus. So glad to have you here today. And if you haven't listened yet, please listen to the beginning of this video where we talk about the angel insights, because that really gives a huge insight into what we've been doing. So for the last week, I've had these daily readings for each of the different signs, and it was kind of like bait, because a lot of people that come here are used to going to the different angel and tarot readers on YouTube, and they think that somehow the cards are important. The cards are like some secret recipe to unlocking, and explaining why everything's all screwed up. The cards are not important. The card is a tool that you can use to help listen. But the video, the beginning of this video explains a lot about what life is all about and what my channel is about. But I am going to give you a card reading right now, and it's for Taurus to pay attention to. It's the last day of this boot camp. There's no more training wheels, because today going forward, now that you know the core message, you're going to be held responsible for it. Not by me, but by all of us. We're all in this together. We all have to pay attention to what these messages are from the angels, okay? Now, although this is labeled Taurus, it is for all of us to pay attention to. So Taurus, when you have time, go back and listen to all of the videos, the boot camp videos, because there's stories and insight that we all need to hear. And but this is labeled Taurus because right now this is significant for you as a life lesson that will help you heal and bring illumination to this on this final day of the boot camp. And so I'm going to shuffle the cards now, and I'm asking your angels and my angels for insight and messages, and asking for illumination on what needs to be healed today, and what buttons and things can we let go of and learn from, so that we can truly be and live on earth as it is in heaven. Okay, so messages and insight for Taurus and all of us on this last day of the boot camp. No more training wheels. Okay. All right. So the primary message for Taurus and for all of us on this last day of the boot camp is the dimension of love. And love, as I've said before many times, so we have love, and some people think forgiveness are separate. I used to think that, but when we have love, you cannot love unless and until you forgive. Forgiveness is a dimension of love. Okay? And so is everything else. Peace is a dimension of love. Generosity is a dimension of love. Happiness is a dimension of love. Joy, It's all love, 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 love. And when we think these things are separate, we kind of get in trouble, because it's like, if you're like, for the Libra, they pursue balance. And if you only are seeking balance, then you might miss out on other aspects of life. Meaning, while it's wonderful to be joyful, without sadness, like, sometimes there's sadness which enriches love. And I remember, but for me, prior to the age of 22, 0 to 22, I lived in pure bliss, nothing but joy and just incredible happiness. And I lived with someone in the monastery who was having a problem with that, because he lived in nothing but sadness. He had a horrible childhood, and really struggled and suffered, and rarely, if ever, experienced joy. And he says, Paul, you're not human. You'll never be able to help anyone until you've been able to experience depression and sadness. And he taught me about this, and I'm like, I wonder if that's true. It was foreign to me, because I was always taught you're supposed to be joyful and, have a good life and, these wonderful things. And so, again, I was in the monastery at the time, and I was in the chapel, and I said, God, so-and-so told me that I'm not going to be able to help people unless I can experience depression and sadness. And I said, I want to be able to help people. So you've got to go. Because God was the source of my happiness. And, oh boy, did he go. I mean, I went from pure light, from 0 to 22, to total and complete darkness. He was gone. And here I am, a monk. And it's like, what? My whole life's dedicated to this, and there is no God? See, ask and you shall receive. I told him, you gotta go, and he left. And I had 3 days of darkness. I mean, total absence from my life source. 100%. But I did this willingly, because God says, or this guy says, you can't help people unless you've experienced sadness and depression. And boy, was I depressed. So after 3 days, I said, okay, God, I get it. I'm sorry. Please come back, please. And he did, and I've never lost him since. But there's a difference. So while before, my happiness was like this, pure bliss, pure joy. So like half of a circle, this amazing, gorgeous part of what I call happiness. But now, with this experience of depression and total darkness and absence, being cut off from my source of life, that's worse than depression. I mean, you can't get any worse. I was at the bottom of the bottom. So when I experienced happiness before, it was this. But now with the sadness, I could experience a new form of happiness, which includes the depression and the sadness and being cut off from my source of life. So my idea of happiness now is far more well-rounded. So you've heard me say in the videos that even in clinical depression, when there's reason, like chemicals are causing that depression, you can still choose happiness. You might be at the very bottom of the circle, the lowest of the low. You might have no hope or anything, but you can still choose happiness. You can understand that this is part of life. This is part of living. And my friend was right. It's like allowing myself to experience this lower, more intense side. I mean, bliss is intense, but this other form of intensity has made me a far more well-rounded person, and it's helped me to identify and connect to people in a way that I was not able to before. So I have experienced it, and I continue to have days where it's like, I feel the intensity that other people are feeling, but instead of wallowing in it and allowing myself to lose hope, I choose to be happy. I choose to believe and to know that this is part of the human experience, and to love, and to not let that get me down. So for the person who is clinically depressed, go back and think about when you're happy, what are the things that you enjoy doing? Make a list. And it might be hard for you to do it right now because you're depressed. So make a little one item on your list. When I feel better again, identify what I enjoy doing when I'm happy. So reading books, taking the dog for a walk, cooking, watching a certain TV program, whatever it is. Identify these things that bring you joy, bring you happiness, and then when you're at your bottom of the bottom, go ahead and go back to your list and start doing those things. Because even if the chemicals in your body are causing the sadness, that doesn't mean you have to give up and stop doing the things that you enjoy, because it's still part of who you are. Okay? That's just something you can try. And so this is the message for the Taurus today that we all need to hear. And when you're able to live in love and forgive, which allows you to love, then you'll be able to handle the sadness, the depression, and turn your enemies into friends, into loved ones. And the struggles, these, wars you might have had, and, anything that might have gotten in the way of your happiness, instead of it bringing you down, you can now make a game of it. And that sounds kind of funny, but what I mean is, like, you can laugh at yourself and you say, well, there I go again. I'm allowing people to hurt me. I'm allowing people to push a button, and I'm going to, instead of letting it wound you, you can laugh and you say, well, there I go again. I need to heal. This is something I need to heal. And, all right, so that's the message for all of us. So Taurus and everyone else who's listening, if you would like to work with me in a personal way, please contact me at paul@meetyourangels.com, and we can work in a more personal way that it will be tailored to your situation. All right, because we're all one, but each person is coming from a different environment and needs different types of support. All right, so Taurus, thank you for being here today. Keep coming back. In your free time, go back and listen to the entire boot camp series. Even though it's labeled for another sign, every sign's message is for all of us, okay? And then going forward, each day I'll have more videos that will have more angel insights for us. All right, thank you, Taurus. Gemini, welcome today. If you haven't already, when you get a chance, and hopefully you can do it today, go back to the very beginning of this video and listen to the Angel Insights message, where I explain that this last week of videos I'm calling a boot camp. And so a lot of people that come to this channel have arrived because they're used to receiving angel card readings and tarot card readings from other YouTube channels, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with having these card readings, but people become dependent upon them, and act as if it's some sort of secret recipe or an explanation of why everything's screwed up. Well, the truth is, you're not screwed up because the star's in the wrong spot. We're screwed up because of things that happened to us in our past, and we need to heal those things. And because we have free will, we make decisions which are unhealthy for us. And so today, we're going to give you a card reading that you, Gemini, need to listen to, but all of us need to listen to. So when you have time, listen to all of the messages on this recording and all of our boot camp series. And then starting tomorrow and the future videos, every video will pertain to you and to all of us, okay? So right now, this is messages and insight from your angels and my angels. And we're asking for illumination of areas that you and I need to heal so that we can go forward and live and be on earth as it is in heaven. So insights and messages for the Gemini and all of us today so that we can go about the healing we need to do. All right? This is amazing. I love it. Okay, so Gemini and all of us. What has come up here is a reminder that every single day, let's put it differently, every moment, which is still not saying it right, but we're humans, so we have to say it this way. Every moment is an opportunity to start new, to start fresh. In case we fall, if we make a mistake, we hurt someone or we do something that's unhealthy to ourselves, as soon as we're aware that something has happened, we have the opportunity to start it anew, to start with a clean slate. We're given the grace that we've been forgiven by God, our sins have been purchased, and every second we have the opportunity to forgive ourselves and those people in our lives, and especially the past, to be gentle with ourselves, to be gentle with the past, to be gentle with the people who have hurt us in the past, to forgive them and show compassion and mercy on them, show mercy on ourselves, because we were chosen to live for God. He chooses to breathe through us, and we are his vessels to live. And this can go over and over. So like even in the Bible, Jesus is on the way to be crucified. He's carrying the cross, and he fell 3 times. 3 times he fell, but he kept getting up. And in the garden, he says, "Let this cup pass from me." Like, Lord, this is too much. I can't handle it. And we can say that. If Jesus said that, we can say it. But then what did he say? He says, "Not my will, but thy will be done." And so this is the reminder. But what's the tool we're going to use to help us stay in alignment with our inner core, with our soul, with the essence of who we are? What's the tool? Our spirituality and spiritual practices. We've all been raised in our faith, whatever religion it is. I'm not telling you what religion, it does not matter, because each of us has the breath of God. We were created by God, and we are taught faith is a gift from God. He's the one that gives you your faith, and that's none of my business. It's your business, and he's asking you to do what he's asking you to do. But for the Gemini, who is so very spiritual, many times, even though they believe that they're doing the right thing, through their actions and perhaps avoidance of, it's a struggle. It's a struggle to be in balance and to to have mercy on themselves. Geminis are so hard on themselves. And the forgiveness, your sins have already been purchased. They've been redeemed. You've been forgiven. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do that God can't forgive you. And so knowing that, when you connect to your spirituality, it's not only a knowledge in your brain, but a knowledge in your soul that you are not loved, Gemini. You are profoundly loved. I love you. We all love you. It's time for you to love you. Okay, Gemini? Every day you can start anew. Every day is a new day. And why I said using a day or a moment is really not the right word, because we have to say that as humans. Because in heaven, there is no time. There's no past. There's no future. There's only the present moment. And so in heaven, we be love. We be peace. We be generosity, etc. The other thing is that love is not, a lot of times people think love is a verb, to love. So, well, if you love me, go get me a beer. If you love me, go take the trash out. And you might not say it with the word, but we imply it all the time. Oh, can you do this? Can you do that? And we're giving orders. And it's like, what we're really saying is, if you love me. So this is a joke because it's totally conditional. Psh, that's not love. So love is not only an action verb, to love. So when you love someone, you do things for them because you love them. Okay? But love is also a state of being, to be in love. And that's what we do in heaven. We are in love. We be in love. All right? So Gemini, please, in your free time, go back and listen to the whole boot camp series. And I'm going to change the thumbnails on YouTube because they used to have the date of each of the former dates that we had recorded those on. But I'm going to change it to a boot camp thumbnail so you know which videos to watch. Every message for every sign is for all of us. And Gemini, if you need any personal help, you want to work with me on achieving your goals and, working one-on-one, go ahead and email me at paul@meetyourangels.com and we can go ahead and do that. All right, so Gemini, you're profoundly loved, and we'll see you tomorrow. And we're not going to continue to have these daily card readings, but we will have daily videos. And there may be cards. The cards are not important. It's only a tool. Okay? So keep coming back for your daily pep talk and angel insight. And we'll see you next time. All right. Well, welcome to our Cancers. Today is a new day, and if you notice our graphics change, it says no more training wheels. If you haven't already, go back and listen to the first part of this video, and in fact the whole video, but you might not have time right now. But when you have time, be sure to listen to the first part of the Angel Insight, because that's explaining why we have no more training wheels. So for the last week, we've been having daily angel readings for each of the signs. And while those are important for that sign, there are messages for every single one of us that we need to know and to learn from and to heal from. Because we are all one being. We are all connected. And so this was kind of a boot camp training us to listen and to understand these concepts that I've been talking about, these what I call universal truths. And so going forward, we're not going to have daily angel card readings for everyone. We will have card readings once in a while, or maybe a lot. That I don't know about the future, but it'll be what it'll be. But every day there will be a message for you and for me and for all of us that will pertain to our lives. Okay? So today's reading, we're going to go ahead and shuffle the cards. And this is going to be the last day of our boot camp. And we're going to have no more training wheels. We're taking the training wheels off. And we're asking your angels and my angels for insight for you to be able to illuminate, and me, illuminate my buttons and my trauma, my past and your past that needs healing. We're asking for the darkness to be illuminated, and so that we can truly heal and choose to be and to live on earth as it is in heaven. All right, Cancer? So, and all of us, let's go ahead and get our cards. Oh, 2 came out. So I'm going to... We have 4 cards here. All right. So, what is the message, the insight for all of us with this, the cards that came out? So, primarily is that we are all in this together. It's not my journey, it's our journey. We are not responsible for ourselves. We're responsible for all of us. Excuse me. When one of us is weak, we are all weak. So we take our talents, our resources, the abundance in our life, because we each have more than someone else. And we be generous with that. We be generous with our love. We be generous with our finances. If there's someone that is in lack, it's our responsibility. It is not someone else's responsibility to take care of them. I have to do my part to take care of everyone else. Okay? And so, and when we do that, we are enriched by that. We gain power. I don't like the word power, but a strength, but we're built up, and we grow. How's that? We grow in this ability to not be weak, meaning a lot of people feel like, well, if I give my money away, or if this is mine, they hold on to it like they're greedy. And if I let someone use what if I'm going to need it? Well, the Lord always provides, always. And the more you give, the more you receive. So perhaps you've heard in another video of mine the prayer of St. Francis. And it says in the prayer of St. Francis, for it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. And it is in dying that we're born to eternal life. So it is in giving that we receive. The more you give, the more you get. You've heard this, and we know it because it's happened. The more I give, I know the more I get. And there's plenty for everyone. And so that's like the story in the Bible about the multiplication of the loaves. They had a couple loaves and fishes in the beginning, and they had all these thousands of people. And the disciples said, well, Jesus, what are we going to do? Everyone's here, but, we don't have any food. And they said, don't worry about it. Jesus multiplied the loaves. But it was his faith and his ability to know that God provides, is that when one person gives, it inspires other people to give. Like, I don't know if there's anyone listening who wouldn't love to be a philanthropist. Wouldn't everyone love to be a philanthropist? Well, what makes you think you have to have $1 million or $1 billion to be a philanthropist? What if you had 500,000? Is that enough to be a philanthropist? What if you had 100,000? 50,000? What if you had $1, but your buddy next to you, you're both sitting on the corner? Are you not going to share what you have with your friend? Let's say your brother, your sister, and you got $1 and they have nothing. Are you not going to share with your family if you're homeless? I've worked with the homeless for over 30 years. And the most amazing lesson, see, society's got it all wrong. They say, oh, these homeless people and these people on welfare, all they want is a free ride. I'll tell you what, you go down and you work with them and you'll learn a lesson, is that the homeless are some of the most generous people ever. And I remember one person in particular, his name was Ryan. He was a young kid, 19 years old, and he lived on the streets and for years. But anyway, he always made sure, always, that everyone ate before he ate. He always was in the same spot, in this town. And there was a young girl who was pregnant, and he always made sure she ate first because he knew she had a baby coming. And, would you do that? Hopefully you'd say yes, but everyone's judged the homeless. Do you have to be a philanthropist? You have to have $1 billion to be a philanthropist? Here's someone who had nothing, absolutely nothing. He lived outside, no home. And even the food that he got, he made sure that the people around him ate first. And that is a true story. And I have thousands of other stories just like that. I've worked with the homeless for 30 years. And we're worried about having lack. That's not how it works. Go back and there's a video, one of my videos talks about, it's the one called Angel Message. It just came out yesterday, I think. But yesterday's irrelevant based on when you're watching this video. But it talks about abundance and manifestation. Well, they're all throughout these videos, okay? But listen to the fruit tree part, and the other one was about the roads. So those are my two main manifestation stories. My fruit tree stories, and I'll try to put links down below, and my two roads story, okay? All right, so generosity. Generosity is this lesson for all of us. Because the more you give, the more you receive. And the prayer of St. Francis says, for it is in giving that we receive. And it is in dying that we're born to eternal life. So in dying to the self, meaning like your greed, dying to the greed, that's when you're going to be living on earth as it is in heaven. Okay, Cancer? Go ahead, if you'd like to contact me and work with me on your personal progress, email me at paul@meetyourangels.com and we can do that, all right? Please share and like this video, and so we can build some momentum and other people can share in this journey with us and learn together, all right? So take care and keep coming back. We'll have more videos. They're going to be different though, all right? And we'll see you next time. All right, Leo, welcome. As you all should know, I'm a Leo, so this is an important message for me too. But for those of you who are just joining in and you haven't seen the rest of this video, please be sure to watch the first part of this video that's called Angel Insight, and I'll put a timestamp down below that you can click on. That'll take you to the beginning. But all of us need to watch this entire video and all of our other videos, which I'm calling our boot camp. And the boot camp is for all of us to learn from each of the different signs, because we're all connected. And I've told stories and given insight over and over again throughout this 1 week boot camp that pertain to all of us, that we need to learn from all of us, from these signs. And so in your free time, please go back and finish the boot camp. And then going forward, we're not going to have these daily readings in the way we've been having them for each sign. It's going to be a message for all of us each day, okay? And we may or may not have cards. The cards are only a tool, and people put too much faith in cards. We all have the skills to be able to listen to our angels and our insight, our inspiration, and intuition, and so that's that. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to shuffle the cards, and we're going to ask your angels and my angels for insight for you and for me to be able to heal those wounds and buttons and the trauma from the past, to illuminate those things which we need to know and understand to help us progress and to grow so that we can live on earth as it is in heaven. All right. So, messages for the Leo and everyone else who's listening to this recording at the time they're listening to it. Okay. All right. So, Leo, all of us have incredible diversity and a broad spectrum of skills and talents. We're multifaceted, and we have so many interests. And as I've said in several of my videos in the past, we have this quiver on the back of our on our back that hold these arrows, which symbolize our skills. And as I told you in previous videos, that when I became a hypnotherapist, when I was in training, the very first day, the professor says, you have on your back this quiver, and as I'm teaching you these things and telling you these stories, each one represents a skill and a life lesson that you're putting into the quiver. And anytime you need to use these techniques, these skills, these tools, you will know exactly which one to pull out at any time, and you can use it to get the job done. All right. So I talk a lot about the Leos, how we have so many interests and projects and hobbies. Okay. And everyone does. And while I've been asking the Leos to focus on one or two significant projects that will bring you life, as you do this, it is absolutely going to propel you into great success, like beyond more than you can even imagine. All right. But it's okay then, once you feel like you have the momentum and you've gotten through the true focus that I've been asking you to do, then you can go back to the shelf with your other projects, because they're all good ideas. All your interests are good. You just can't do them all at once. So it's a matter of prioritizing and learning how to set goals, weighing them out, and then working towards it. There's a process to being successful. There's a process to receiving and manifesting the success and the goodness and the incredible things you want in your life. And so I've talked about manifestation in other parts of this video and other videos, and I'll put a link down below to other manifestation talks. But basically, don't forget this quiver on your back. You have everything you need, all the skills, all the techniques, all the information to help you perfectly and instantly in every scenario. Okay? And if you don't know what to do, listen for your intuition and it will guide you. And don't forget, there's always Google. Sorry, I tried to, lighten it up a little bit. Google's an incredible tool, in case you didn't know. All right. Now, because you have all these great tools and insight and all this stuff, it's great for the Leo to think, well, look at me, I've got all this stuff. Yeah, you do. Okay. But Leo, we need to share it. Leos are very good teachers when they are ready. Leos are very, very, very generous. Okay. So be generous with your knowledge. And Leos, it'd be great for you to be a mentor, because I've told the Aquarius before, it's time to start thinking about mentoring someone to help be a leader. And Leo, whatever profession you're in, you need to help mentor other people to be successful in what you're doing. Okay? Because we all need help. Everyone needs help. And I'll help anyone however I can. So contact me at paul@meetyourangels.com. I have tons of experience with, what's called process development. So looking at the end result and what are the steps to get there. Identifying your trigger points, the things in your past that you need to examine. And I have tools and processes to help illuminate those blocks that are preventing you from being and living on earth as it is in heaven, and preventing you from shining in the way that you should be shining and achieving the success that you want to achieve. Okay, so Leo and everyone else who's listening, you've got all the tools you need, all the skills. You've got the quiver on your back. Be generous with that and start considering being a mentor to someone else, to take someone under your wing, or many people. You can start a whole training course, who knows, and share what you have. And the more you share, the more the inspiration will come, the more momentum you build to continue more in your craft. Okay? And so that's that. And Leo, keep coming back. Share this video if you can. And, the more the merrier here, because we're all in this together. And we want to make sure that, everyone knows that they're not only loved, but profoundly loved by all of us. Okay? So thank you, Leo, for being here. And we'll see you next time. All right, Virgos, welcome. So today, notice it says no more training wheels. So for the last week, we've been having daily readings for each of the signs. And I've decided we're turning this into a boot camp. Today's the last day of the boot camp. The training wheels are going to come off. And if you haven't listened yet, please go back to the beginning of this video and listen to the Angel Insight portion of this video, which explains, why we're changing and what's going on. Okay? And then, so what you're going to need to do is, in your free time, go back to the very first video and watch all of our bootcamp series and all of the videos, because even though it might be labeled for another sign like a Leo or Gemini or something, every message pertains to every one of us, because we are all connected. The lessons that a Leo has to learn are the same lessons that a Virgo has to learn. And it's just a matter of, when you listen to those messages, that's the right time for that. So whenever you get the chance to listen, that's the perfect time. And it does not matter what sign it says. Going forward, we're not going to be doing the daily readings for each sign like we've been doing. We're going to have one message for all of us. We may or we may not do cards. The cards are a tool, but they're not it's not a magical recipe. It's just a tool to be able to identify and look at things that we all need to pay attention to. Okay? So let's go ahead now, and I'll get the cards, and we're going to ask your angels and my angels for guidance and insight into whatever you and I need today in order to heal any buttons or past traumas, to illuminate any areas of our life in the darkness which may be lurking within us, so that we may heal those areas and illuminate them, so that we can live and be on earth as it is in heaven. Okay, Virgo? So our first card is coming up. Okay, I love it. So Virgo, we've been talking this past week quite a bit about the fences, and they're real, very strong fences, and you've had your armor on and you've taken it on and off, and it's, kind of exhausting because, Virgos want love. They're so into their family, and they want to be so close. Yeah, at times they put this thing up and they say, stand back but come closer. How's it possible? It's not possible. So what we're learning from the Virgo is that when we take the fence down permanently, the love that we want to receive is able to come. When we push people away, what happens? They stay away. When we're icky, they don't want to be around us. When we're self-absorbed, they don't want to be around us. So, but the truth is, the Virgo and all of us, we have a whole team rooting for our success. We have a whole team of people that love us. And I've told the Virgo so many times, Virgo, you're not loved. You're profoundly loved. Like way beyond you can imagine. You have the biggest team of cheerleaders rooting for you because we love our Virgos so much. We need you. You're fun, and you have a sensitivity about you that is, we all need to learn from, because you are good, working with people, and you are so creative, and Virgos are known for wanting things in place and being orderly, and when they're unhealthy they have OCD. But if we could all have that passion for, well, let's just say if we could apply that to being in alignment with ourselves, to clean up the house within ourselves and to heal those past wounds, boy, the whole world would be shiny bright, wouldn't we? All right, but what comes from that, when we tear down the fences, then the love is able to come in. And once you feel that love, and you realize that, yes, you do have a team of cheerleaders rooting for you, and you are profoundly loved, then you can take that love and let it overflow. And that's going to be the medicine for the other people. So rather than the poison that the Virgo can spew out sometimes through their ickiness, when they can live in love and let it flow out, then, wow, that is the medicine. Because the Virgo has a delivery, like they're actresses and actresses. Like the Virgos they can really show people how to do it. They can deliver it right. They're so loving, truly. All right, so that's the message, is that those fences serve no purpose other than to keep out the very thing that you want, which is love. And that they say it's easier to attract flies with honey than with vinegar. So I don't know if you know what that means, but just try to be aware when you're having a bad day. Reconnect to your gratitude list. Remember, every day do a gratitude list and start your day with gratitude, and that'll help it overflow. not only for you into your life and to bring you happiness and joy and peace and love, but for everyone else around you. All right, Virgo? So come on back. We're going to keep having videos. They're going to be a little different. You will have messages for each day. If you want to work with me one-on-one, please contact me at paul@meetyourangels.com, and we can go ahead and work together on that. All right, so share the video and tell your friends about the channel. All right, we'll see you tomorrow, Virgo. Take care. All right, welcome to our Libra friends. How are you doing? So maybe if you notice, it says no more training wheels. What we're doing now is I'm changing our strategy here, and this is going to be the last day of our training boot camp, our angel boot camp. And so for the last week, every day we've had a reading for each of the different signs, and we each need to learn from every single one of those signs. So if you haven't yet, please go to the beginning of this video and listen to the Angel Insight portion of it. And it explains a lot more than I'm going to explain right now. But basically is that because we're all one being, we're all connected, I tell stories and give insight and all these different scenarios that we've been talking about, but that insight is for all of us. While you might be a Libra, that's what I call an envelope, okay? That's your perception of being a Libra. You're far more than a Libra, okay? We're all connected. We're all part of the zodiac. And there are these universal truths that we all need to learn. And those universal truths are just being echoed back to us through the videos that I've already recorded. And so I'm going to give you a reading today, but going forward, the next upcoming videos are going to be for all of us together, for the entire zodiac, all right? And for all one being. All right, so I'm taking the cards. We're going to go ahead and shuffle the cards and ask your angels and my angels for insight and guidance into how the Libra and all of us can go ahead and heal those past wounds and trauma. Anything that's preventing us from healing the past and loving the past and preventing us from living on earth as it is in heaven. So we ask now for insight and for healing so that we can live in love and to forgive so that we may love everyone and live on earth as it is in heaven. Okay, Libra. So in our boot camp, we've been talking about this relationship or relationships in your life. Now, I'm talking to all of us, okay? It's labeled Libra, but we all need to learn this. Is that now is the time, if you haven't already, to stop being in unhealthy relationships. It is over. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to leave the unhealthy relationship, but it means you're going to heal the unhealthy relationship. And what that means is you're going to give yourself a voice. Give yourself a voice and communicate with your loved one in that unhealthy relationship. And when they do something that is not healthy, that is not in alignment with your personal goals for yourself, we all know when something's not right. If something's unhealthy, especially if it's abuse, there is never, ever, ever a good case for abuse. It is not tolerable. It is not ever healthy. As soon as something comes up, you're going to stop the person and say, I'm not going there. I am choosing to have a good life. I'm choosing to live in love. And we need to teach one another how to be in relationship with one another. And the Libra seeks balance. This Libra seeks justice, and that is justice, and that is balance, is when we can stop and say, no, that is not right. I will not be treated in that way. This is how I want to be treated. Or like, when you do that, it makes me feel this way. It makes me feel less than. And you're teaching the person you're in relationship with how, what hurts you, how to be in relationship with you. And there's an airplane over the head, so I hope you can hear me. We'll just wait a second. We'll pay attention to the airplane. There's symbols and signs all around us. Like, you might notice the clock certain times. When the time pops up, it's a reminder, oh, that's right, I need to take care of myself. Or, oh, yeah, or you might see a special flower or a bird. There's different symbols that people use. So if you're in a relationship and you keep seeing something over and over and over again, like a clock or a certain bird, what is that telling you? What do I need to know? You're listening and you're paying attention. And there will be wisdom and insight when you notice these things. All right, so we're teaching one another how to be in relationship with one another. Because, most likely, the person you're in the relationship with, they don't want to hurt you. They just don't know that they're hurting you. And why are they hurting you? Because when they were a little kid, between the ages of 0 and 7 and 8, they were taught down here in the subconscious. It's all down there in their subconscious. This is how I treat someone when I'm in a relationship. Daddy might have hit mommy, or, fighting, verbal arguments, argue, or cutting people down, yelling. People learn this as kids, and they carry it out into adulthood. And it isn't until someone calls them on it and teaches them, hey, you can't yell at me. Why are you yelling at me? I'm not yelling at you. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm yelling. I shouldn't be yelling. So they love you. They don't want to hurt you, but they need to know what they're doing is not right. That is justice. Okay? And that restores the balance. And if Libra chooses balance, and we all choose balance, that means, so if I'm balanced and someone's coming at me to knock me off balance, if I remain firm on the firm foundation, it'll bounce right off. I'm not letting anyone get into me, under my skin. See? We're going to live in love, and love can expel that. So what happens? When we teach the people in our lives how to be in relationship with us, and us with them, they need to teach us, then we can live in harmony, we can live in balance, and we can celebrate. We can live on earth as it is in heaven. This is a lesson every single one of us need. We need to learn how to be in relationship with one another so that we can truly have peace. We can have harmony, balance, and justice, and live and love together on earth as it is in heaven. Okay, Libra, thank you for being here. If you'd like to work together, email me at paul@meetyourangels.com, and we can do that. All right, please share and like this video. I'd like to get as many of us as possible working on this so that we can all have a momentum together. We can heal together and enjoy and celebrate with one another. We can learn to be in relationship with one another. All right? We're healing the past. We're illuminating the darkness, and we're living in the light. Okay, Libra? Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time. All right, Scorpio, welcome. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing great. So today, you notice right here it says, no more training wheels. So what we're doing is I'm taking the last week of videos, and I'm calling that our Angel Boot Camp. And the boot camp is for all of us to learn these universal truths, messages that we all know to be true. We all know the information, but we need the reminders. So they're echoes of the truth that we need to remember. And we use these things to heal. And our whole goal of this channel is to learn to heal the past so that we can live and be on earth as it is in heaven. I sound like a broken record, don't I? But isn't that what the whole point of life is? Why are we waiting? Why are we waiting? Okay, so Scorpio, if you haven't already, please go to the beginning of this video and watch the Angel Insight message, which will explain a lot more about what we're doing. And this reading that we're going to have right now is the last reading of the Angel Boot Camp, and we're taking the training wheels off because there's plenty of messages for all of us to learn from the last week that can really, there's really no excuse for us to not live on earth as it is in heaven anymore. Now, that doesn't mean we're done. No, there's plenty of growth to do. Plenty. But now, instead of having a reading for every single sign, we will have one message for the day that all of us need to hear. And it may be in the form of a reading, or it might just be a message of some other sort. We're not going to be held to a certain format, all right? That way we have flexibility, and we don't have to be bound by, because Scorpio, people are addicted to the cards. The cards are only a tool. The cards are not the answer. If you have to run to get your cards to make a decision, boy, you got a long journey ahead of you. I'm going to tell this story. It's a true story. Oh, it's exhausting to think about it. Years ago, back in like 1999 or year 2000, I used to be on one of those psychic hotlines, where you call in and you can, get a reading. And in that particular website, you could give a free 3-minute reading, if someone asked for one. And this guy, young guy, he was probably 19 or 20. He was one of the readers on the Psychic Network. That wasn't the name of it, but, whatever it was, this website for psychics, people could get readings. And this young guy says he can cut your psychic cords and help you with all the trauma and drama and, all this stuff. And you could see his profile. And I looked, and he had worked with like 200, 300, not worked with, he had gotten free readings from 200 or 300 other psychics. I called, so he wanted a free reading for me. And I said, I'll tell you what, here's my number. I gave him my personal number. And I blasted him for an hour and a half. I mean, I'm saying it like that, but it wasn't like that. But what I said was, you say you're going to help people cut their psychic cords and all these things that are preventing them from, having such trauma in their life and drama. It's like you have so many psychic cords connected to you that you couldn't possibly, you need your psychic cords cut. And a psychic cord is, so we're in relationship with people, and when we're in balance and it's healthy, we can mutually respect and honor one another, and it's give and take, but it's balance. It's not where someone's like a vampire and they connect their psychic cord to you and they zap and they're pulling your energy, taking it away. No. Let's everyone right now get out your scissors, and we're cutting the psychic cords. We're getting rid of all that vampire energy of people who have taken our energy and are continuing to take our energy, and we're cutting those cords. There are no more cords. Every direction, we're cutting those cords. So we are now free. We are free of all the psychic cords, and we can now use our own energy to revitalize ourselves, to energize ourselves. In Scorpio, you remember drinking water. This makes you feel so much better, so much better. And as you continue to drink the water, then you can have the pep in your step and regain, as we've been telling the Scorpios, go back to your childhood innocence and the dreams that you had as a child, so that you can go back but now in the present, be healthy and happy in a way that you haven't been in a long, long time. So back to this psychic guy with all the cords. I said, I said, you've got to cut the cords. You can't help anyone with that. I mean, and he says, Paul, you are the only person who has been honest with me. He talked to 200 to 300 psychics, and he says, you are the only one who's been honest. Why? And here's the truth. When you call those psychic hotlines, and I'm sure people who are listening have done that, they don't want you to get better. They want you to keep calling because they're making money off of your calls. They make you dependent on them. Oh, what should I do next? I can't make a decision without calling my psychic. Well, I assure you that I want to help you, but there's no way I want to keep talking to you for the rest of my life. I got other people to help, okay? I have my life to live. I can't be helping you, like the training wheels are coming off. I want to help you. I want to work with you, but not forever, okay? You call me or you email me at paul@meetyourangels.com and I'll set you on the right path. I will be honest with you. I'll tell you like it is so that you can then go forward in your own power, your own energy, and you can live with life no matter what it takes. So I'll tell you another story about this. As you know, I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist. And when I had my clinic, I had an office, people would come in and, I work with them one-on-one in an office setting. Now my work is global. I work with people all over the world. And in the office, this guy came in, and this is a true story. He had irritable bowel syndrome. And he's probably 32 years old. And hypnosis is very effective with irritable bowel syndrome. And this guy, the poor guy, Steve was his name, he had over 16 doctors and holistic healers that he went to every week, every month. He saw 16 different practitioners to help him with his irritable bowel syndrome. And somehow he ends up with me. So, and I know hypnosis works for it, and we get to work. So we start working, and about 2 weeks after working with him, now this is just a couple days a week. This isn't every day. It's just, I give him homework. And after 2 weeks, I'm like, oh, Steve, it's amazing. You're doing great. Like, look at you. He's like, I know. I feel amazing. I haven't felt like this forever. I said, well, let's keep working. So, we keep working. And the next day he comes in, next time, he's like, oh, I'm like, Steve, what's wrong? He's like, I don't know. I don't feel well, I said, well, that's too bad because, last time you were here, you were doing so well. Let's get back to work because, this works. And so we get back to work, and another week goes by, and he comes back, and he's like, peppier than ever. He's like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, Steve, look at you. It's amazing, your transformation. I can't believe it. He's like, I know. I have never in my life felt so good. I'm like, that's wonderful. Let's keep working. So the next time he comes in, he's worse than ever. I had never seen him so bad. And I'm like, I think I know what's going on here. I said, Steve, I have a question for you. Yeah? Well, did you notice that, when we were working together, that you got a lot better? That first day, that day you came in, I'm like, wow, look at you. You're like, yeah, I really felt so good. And then did you notice when I said you were better, the next time you came in, you were worse? Yeah. And then we worked again, and you got better than ever, like the best ever. And I said, man, look at you. You're better. Yeah. And then now you're here, and you're worse than ever. I have a question for you. Do you want to get better? And he looks up like this, and he looks up like that, and he looks up like this, and he looks up like that. And why that's significant is because in psychology, when we look up in one direction, that's a created memory, and we look up in the other direction, it's a real memory. So am I going to lie, or am I going to tell the truth? And he looks up in one direction, and he looks up in the other direction, and he looks over here, and he looks over there, literally 4 times. And his truthful answer was, I don't know. Well, that was good. He was honest. And this is what I said. Steve, I think this is what's going on. And everyone listening, pay attention, because is this what's going on? I said, I think this is what's going on. You are paying 16 doctors and holistic practitioners for an hour of undivided attention every week. And I think what's happening is you're paying us to be your friends. And I said, I'll tell you what. I'll be your friend, but you don't have to pay me. And you don't have to be sick. And this is what I'll do for you, is I'll still work with you. But I'm going to work with you on social skills and people skills and relationship skills. So that way you'll feel more confident about yourself, self-confidence, self-esteem. So that when you're in a relationship, you don't have to be sick and unhealthy. You can be healthy, and you don't have to pay us. We will be your friends because you are a good guy. Oh my God. It's just like the psychic. He's like, Paul, you're the only one who's told me there's another option. Like, yes, that's what I want. I want friends. I want to be able, but his sickness has consumed him to the point where the only fulfillment he was getting was paying someone to pay attention to him. And he knew it was unhealthy. It was costing him a fortune. And he was so sick. So we killed 2 birds with 1 stone. We hit the nail on the head. His irritable bowel syndrome was just literally a reflection of his own need and desire for intimacy, for friendship, when it had nothing to do with truly being sick. All right, so when you work with Paul's going to tell you the truth. He might say things that you don't want to hear, but it's not because he doesn't love you. It's because he profoundly loves you. He needs you to have a better life so we can have a better life together. And like, if I never have to have another client, that would be wonderful, because that means the whole world has been healed. That means we're all living on earth as it is in heaven. And I want to be your friend, okay? But let's work first on building up to that. Like, I have one more story. This is how I work, and this is the honest truth. And working with me doesn't have to take a long time. There was a guy, there used to be a website, it might still be out there, I don't know. I think it was called 43 Things. And it's kind of like a bucket list. And people create their bucket list, and then there's people that say, I've done that. Like, someone wanted to climb Mount Everest, and if you climb Mount Everest, you could say, I've done that. And then you can give tips and hints on how to do that. And then there's another thing that says, if you've done it, you're willing to help people to also do that. Well, on the website, I can't remember if someone put they want to find their life purpose. I think that's what it was. And I put on there that I have found my life purpose, and I can help you with that. Now, let's say that was on a Monday. Now, my life purpose is to love and to serve. Okay? I'm here to love and to serve. That's my life purpose, and I love it. Okay? So, on Monday night, late at night, on this website, I put, I have found my life purpose, and I can help you find yours through the coaching and all that stuff. Because I've done this for 30 years. I've helped people for 30 years. Anyway, the next day, I get a phone call or an email. But I think it was a phone call. I must have put it on the website or something. And it's a call from this guy that lives in Maine. And I said, hello. And he says, well, I found you on the website about finding my life purpose. And I'm like, that was last night. Talk about the law of attraction. Because I put out to the universe, I am willing to help people to find their life purpose. And here it was, the very next day, I get a call from someone on the complete other side of the country, because I'm in California, he's in Maine. And he says he's looking to find his life purpose. And so we talked to each other every day for a month. And he was young. He was in his 20s. But maybe 25 or 28. I can't remember. But so he was old enough to know better, He was ready for a change, ready to really have a meaning in his life. And so we started talking and working on these tools and techniques that I use with people. And he absolutely was like the best student I've ever had. Every bit of homework I ever gave him, he did immediately and thoroughly. He never, ever complained or fought back. He did what I asked. And after a month, he calls me. 1 month. And he was so eager, so ready for heaven. So eager for goodness. And he starts going in and, whatever he wanted to talk about that day. I said his name. We'll call him Jeffrey. That's not his name. Jeffrey, wait a minute. I said, listen, I have something to tell you. What? I said, Jeffrey, I don't want you to be my client anymore. What? No, Paul, no. I love working with you. I love it. I said, Jeffrey, let me finish. You are more important to me as a friend than as a client. And I said, you have learned so much. You have done everything I've asked. You're there. I'll still be here for you to support you and to love you. But you don't need to pay me anymore. So there's a point, if you're going to be working with me, I'm going to set you free, because I'd rather have a friend than have to listen to problems. And, like, I'm willing to listen to problems because that's what friends do, but you don't have to pay me for it. Like, here, everything's free. I don't expect anything from you. I just want, like, if you could participate by doing your homework and, like, listening and actually healing yourself, great. But if you need help, which a lot of people do need help, I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years. If we work together and you do your homework, then you don't have to pay me. Like, we can be friends, and, I can support you in your life being on earth as it is in heaven, because we're doing it together. And right now, we are there together. We're here. We're here. But then, when you got it down, then you can go and be the healer as well. They say, healer, heal thyself. Healer, heal thyself. And there's a point when you have enough strength, you have enough goodness, you have enough love, where you feel like it is overflowing, and you can share that with other people and truly be a healer. You don't need a degree. You don't need to have gone to school. You just need to have done the work. And believe me, I've done the work. I have an incredible story of my journey to freedom, my journey to understanding my past and healing the past that was not so good. I have an incredible life today. I've always had an incredible life. Like I said in the earliest part of this video, is that from the age of 0 to 22, I lived in bliss. But that's because I had God. I was connected to God. I never lost sight of God. And so perhaps that will be the lesson for the Scorpio today, is everything that I've talked about is do the work, do the homework, do what needs to get done. Look at the past. Don't be afraid. That fourth step of the 12-step program, it says to do a fearless and searching moral inventory of your life. Now, I do it differently. It's journaling, but I do it far more completely and intensively than the fourth step people will have you do. But it's not because I want to make it hard for you. I want to make it complete for you. I want it to be thorough, so you don't have to keep back doing it over and over again on the same people. And you might not even know what I'm talking about. That's fine. You don't need to right now. Contact me at paul@meetyourangels.com, and we will help you to live and have your freedom. You don't have to be chained by the burdens of your past. Okay? And I promise you, if you are going to work with me, at some point, you're not going to have to pay me, and you're not going to have to, we can be friends. Like, how cool would that be? So like that poor Steve guy who had no friends, he had to pay for all of his friends, all these holistic practitioners. And I said, Steve, I'll be your friend, but you don't have to pay me. You get it? Okay. So in our lives, if we are paying people, and I'm not saying with money, but it could be with money, or let's say the psychics, if you're paying someone to make your decisions for you, and I'm telling you, there are people who have been going to psychics for 30, 40 years, daily. I used to have daily clients, and I would tell them, look are you listening to what I'm saying? I've literally told them, don't call again. I make a living on this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling them, don't call. And it's not because I don't want them to call me. I want them to learn the lesson first. I want them to live. I want them to have free will. Don't do it because I'm telling you to do it. Do it because you want to do it. Do it because you decided to do it. Live in heaven because you want it and you deserve it. Not because Paul says you should and Paul says you deserve it. No. Okay, so you're learning more about me. I'm strict when I need to be, but not mean. It's like I'm your biggest cheerleader, 6'7" cheerleader. Come on, everyone, let's go, let's go. Let's live on earth as it is in heaven. I'm ready, are you? All right. Email me, paul@meetyourangels.com. Let's work together and get it over with so we can go and have fun. All right, you guys, Scorpio, hang in there. I love you. You're profoundly loved. And we'll see you. Come back tomorrow for a new message. We'll do a different format. I don't know what it'll be. We'll find out. All right, so see you next time. Sagittarius, welcome, welcome, welcome. So if you notice right here, it says no more training wheels. What I've done is I've turned this last week of videos into what I'm calling an angel boot camp. So although we've been talking about each sign and the lessons they need to learn, the truth is that we need to learn the lessons, all these lessons that are in the last week's videos, because we're all one being, we're all connected, and the lessons that I've been speaking about are what I call universal truths. We all need to learn them. And if some people are, they're really attached to their zodiac sign, so Sagittarius or whatever it is, well, the truth is that in the zodiac, the stars go around and around and around, the moons, the planets, and everything, and they influence us all. So we have to learn from every single one of them. And if we're so fixated on just Sagittarius, now everyone should be listening to this video. So no matter what sign you are, at some point you're going to have to surrender your sign and just say, no, I'm me. I make my decisions. And it's not based on where the moon is or the planets and all that stuff. I make my decisions because I have free will and because I want to be in alignment with my inner core and the things that I want for myself. I'm manifesting the things for myself because I want to be on earth as it is in heaven. And yes, I'm a Sagittarius or whatever sign. And yes, the moon, the planet, the stars influence our energies. And yes, that's all a factor of who I am. But it's only one facet. It's one part. But the most important part is that I make my decisions. And it's my responsibility to make those decisions, and I cannot be dependent on other people to make my decisions for me. So that's what we're learning here on my channel, is to how do you become the healer? How do I heal myself so that I can truly have an incredible life? How do I heal the past and illuminate the darkness so that the truth can come forward and I can be on earth as it is in heaven? So we're going to go ahead and do a reading today. But this reading is not just for you, it's for all of us. And so if you haven't yet, go back to the beginning of this video, and I want you to listen to the very beginning that talks about angel insight, and it explains this new process in the boot camp and how today's the last day of the boot camp and there's no more training wheels. Because what I'd like you to do is, after this message, when you have time, go back to the beginning of the boot camp and listen to all of the signs, all of the messages, because I tell stories and give insight that we all need to hear. And then, now going forward, we're going to have only one message of the day that we all need to hear. And it might be in different formats. I might do card readings. I might have other, I receive what I call angel downloads. So I'll be asleep at night, and I'm told, write this down. And right next to my bed, I keep a notepad and pen at all times, because I value one thing immensely: sleep. And the worst thing to do is to, you know that there's something coming, like there's something on your mind, And if you don't get it out of your mind, you'll toss and turn all night. But because I want to sleep, I keep the pen and paper right next to the bed. And so this is a tool for everyone. Okay, I'm being told, tell them to do this. Keep your notebook next to your bed with a pen. And in the middle of the night, if anything's on your mind, you might receive what I call a download, which is they literally tell me, write this down. And they're not my words. And I will be sharing these over time. They're incredible. And they're not my words. These are literally the angels telling me, giving me this messages for all of us. Okay, we are all one being. And for you, you may get a download, or it just might be a tool for you to process what is going on in your mind all night long. If you could just get it down on the paper, it gets it outside of you, and then you can put it aside and go to sleep and get a wonderful night's sleep. And, you know, as a hypnotherapist, you know what the number one issue everyone wants help with? Number one. And there's these recordings you can get help with on my hypnomart.com website. Insomnia. Oh my gosh. I used to have a rack with all these brochures, you know, and all different types of things that hypnosis can help in the office. And the insomnia brochure, every day I'd have to fill it back up. Everyone took the insomnia thing. So if you go to insomnia.hypnomart.com, that will take you right to the insomnia recordings. Okay, that'll help you. But the point is not that. The point is your tool for you to get and to keep next to your bed is the pen and paper, so that you can write down what's going on in your mind, and then that's something you're going to look at and examine when you're awake, when you have time to set time for yourself. So every day, if you guys can set aside a half an hour or an hour of me time, you time, where you take time to really spend time to work on investigating your past and your dreams, your desires, what you're grateful for. And whatever is written at night, that's the time to look at this stuff and to integrate it into your life. Okay? So let's do the card reading for Sagittarius. I've already shuffled these cards several times, but what we're asking for is insight and messages, and for the angels to shed light and illuminate those areas in your life and my life that need healing, so that you and I can live on earth as it is in heaven. There's no more training wheels. This message is for all of us to hear. All right. So we know the tool. The tool is the notebook. All right. So the message today is that we are at the gate. Okay? And the gate is our past, the future, and right now, right here, right now. And if we open this gate, so we're looking forward. We're always going forward, okay, in what we call the future. That's not what it is in heaven, but I'll explain that in a second. We're at this gate, which is between our third dimensional reality, where we struggle, we have difficulties, and it's a very heavy way of living. Okay, and the gate is this separation that we have created, this fence that we have created between our heavy third dimensional life with struggles and just low energy and heaven. So if we take down the gate, and we open it, and we can step into the present moment, We have stepped into the present moment, which is heaven on earth. Because in heaven, there is no past, there is no future, there is only now. Humans in the third dimension, so not the heavenly dimension, experience time because we're bored. And we fixate on these things that happened in the past because, that guy did this and did that. Or some people are fixated on the future because they're ignoring the past, like it's too painful. And they dream. But as they do that, they're missing the present moment where we actually be. And you can't get to where you're going unless you know where you want to go. And you can't get there unless you cooperate with the process, which requires action. Okay, so you're at this gate. Here's the gate. All right, we need to open the gates and step in and be on earth as it is in heaven. And it is there because we have all the tools, all the skills, everything we need to be successful and to be on earth as it is in heaven. And so when we can surrender the past, we can absolutely think about the future, but create and manifest. We're planting seeds. And the point of our being in heaven is to water those seeds with our spirituality, with our spiritual practices and awareness, spiritual awareness. And I'm going to mention this is that, because I've said it in other videos, but I want to make sure to mention it now, is that prayer, there's different types of prayer. So when you're a child, they teach children verbal prayer. So, Christians are taught the Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. That's a verbal prayer. And while it is a wonderful prayer, and we should pay attention to that prayer, because most people don't even listen to what they're saying. It's a prayer, but it's something that we teach children so that they can learn to be aware of God and the external presence of God. Because certainly children are aware of the internal presence of God, but the prayer teaches them that you can communicate with God. Now, at that age, and most people listening are probably still using what we call verbal prayer. There's nothing wrong with that. All prayer is good, and there's no one that's better than the other. But they say that there are higher levels of prayer. The second level of prayer is what we call meditation, or meditatio in Latin. Now, we have it all screwed up in English. When we think meditating, meditating is, there's different schools, but they'll say that meditating is, emptying your mind and being in the presence and stuff like that. That's actually not meditation. That is contemplation. And in English, we've got them backwards. We say in English, well, I'm going to go contemplate that, as if we're going to go over and sit down and think things through. No, that is meditation. Meditatio is using the imagination, using our intellect to place yourself in the spiritual setting. So, for a Christian, the Christian could, calm themselves and use the imagination and say, I'm there in the garden with Jesus when he's in his agony, and I can see the tears of blood coming down, and I want to be there for him and with him, because he asks us to be there. And you have this experience but it's using the active imagination and our brain to, well, in English we say contemplate. That's not right. Okay, so that's meditation. And then the highest form of prayer is when we let go of the words. We let go of the brain and the imagination. And in contemplation, contemplatio, we be in the presence of God, where this envelope of Paul, disappears and we become one. And it's when we come face to face with God that everything is answered. And I shared in the other video, is that how do we do that? And when I was a child, I used to play guitar at Mass. I started in 3rd grade, but I knew the song since 1st grade. And the song goes like this, and I'm not going to sing it. It goes like this. Listen. Listen to the silence. Listen. Listen for the words of the Lord. Listen. Listen, for he speaks in quiet times. So it is in the quiet that we can actually hear. We listen, but it's not an active listening with the ear, because that's using your brain. When we listen in contemplation, this envelope disappears and we become one with God. We become one with all one being. We no longer recognize this envelope or any other envelope. We become one with the universe. And this sounds impossible, but it's very easy. Easy for me to say. But, you know, again, I've had this my whole life. I've known this since 1st grade. I had it before then, but those words I've been able to convey with other people to help them learn this since 1st grade. I had my first psychic experience at the age of 6, literally, and was able to communicate that at 6 years old. But prior to that, I had God. I had knowledge. I had everything I needed. I was one. We all were. My sister remembers before the womb. She remembers the womb. She remembers it all. What a gift that is, you know. So, but we don't all have to remember the same thing, and we don't choose where we are on the spiritual journey. So what I'm talking about today is the spiritual direction that you and I can do if you want to work with me to learn how to be in the presence of God, how to be in heaven, in dimensions that you can't even imagine yet because you haven't experienced them. Have you been one with the universe where you disappear and you feel one? Maybe, hopefully. But in spiritual direction, when you work with me, that's what we build towards. But I can't tell you what level you're in. I can't even do it for me, because that's not how prayer works. All prayer, like, we can't sit down and say, oh, I'm going to go and sit down and pray. I'm going to do this. Like it's our idea. All prayer is God calling us first to prayer. And prayer is calling us into union with Him, being one. And in Christianity, we're told we're to pray always. Does that mean words? Words, 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 words? No. To pray always, it's not thinking, thinking, thinking. We can do that. But to pray always is to be one with God. And that's why we call these saints, holy people. Saints are people who are ordinary people, who have ordinary struggles, ordinary traumas, but they've had an experience of God that has transformed them, and they've been open to that transformation. So when you think about a caterpillar, and he's happy being a caterpillar, he's munching on leaves and he's doing his thing, and all of a sudden life gets kind of tough. What happens? This cocoon comes and it gets tighter and tighter, and it's so hard to exist as a caterpillar anymore. And for so many people, the past and these wounds, the trauma, have been used as an armor, supposedly to protect them. But that armor has served nothing but to make your life difficult. That armor, and the pain that you're holding in, it's preventing it from getting out and being healed. So we have to throw the armor down. We must throw the armor down. And then what happens for that caterpillar in that cocoon? It's so tight, it's painful, painful, painful. But what happens is there's a metamorphosis, a change. The caterpillar goes through the process, aligns himself with the process of being transformed to have a metanoia, which means a change of heart, to turn the sadness into joy. And what happens for the butterfly and what happens for us is it emerges from the cocoon. It emerges from the armor and the fences. We emerge. And that caterpillar is transformed into a beautiful butterfly, and it spreads its wings and floats on the wind. Don't you want that freedom? Don't you want to fly? Don't you want to spread your wings and free yourself from the shackles that are binding you? The absolute dungeons that we put ourselves into. How much longer can you carry on the pain, the suffering? It's a tremendously painful journey that you've been on and we've been on. But I promise you, you can and will be healed. And right now, there are no more training wheels. What I've told you, you already know. Truth speaks to truth. You know this, you have always known it. But now is the time. Now is the time. And as I've said in other recordings, when there's a Catholic funeral, they always say in every funeral, life has not ended. It has merely been transformed, and every tear shall be wiped away. Is that beautiful or what? I mean, all that pain, everything you've been through can be transformed, and you can be that beautiful butterfly, being on earth as it is in heaven, with all the gifts, all the talents, all the beauty that you have. How incredible. So thank you, Sagittarius, for being brave. Thank you for being here. And if you feel you need help to walk through these processes so that we can free ourselves and emerge from that cocoon, give me a call at meetyourangels.com, and we can work together, and we can be friends and be on earth as it is in heaven together. All right? So come back tomorrow. We're going to have a different type of session. I don't know what it's going to be yet. We'll find out. These are not my sessions. I ask the angels, and they're the ones who are telling me to tell these stories. Everything I've told you is truth. These are real life experiences. And you have your life experiences too that can help us. All right? So please like and share this video, and tell your friends about it, because everyone needs to go through this. All right? So we'll see you tomorrow, Sagittarius. Take care until then. All right, Capricorn, welcome. Welcome, welcome. So if you notice right up here, it says no more training wheels. What I've done is I've taken this last week of videos, and today's going to be our last day of what I'm calling the Angel Bootcamp. And if you haven't already, please go to the very beginning of this video and watch the section about Angel Insight, because that's going to explain this a lot better. Than I'm not going to repeat it here, because I couldn't possibly. But anyway, right now, if you have time, you of course are going to listen to Capricorn. But these messages are not just for Capricorn. They're for all of us. And in your free time, when you have time, go back and listen to every single day of the boot camp, of every sign, because those messages are not just for the sign, they're for all of us. We need to learn every aspect of the things that we've been talking about in this boot camp. And then going forward, the new videos will have new messages for all of us together, because we are all one being. We are not separate. The messages we all need to hear. Okay, so we will give you a reading today, but this is for all of us to listen to. And so we will do that. I'm going to go ahead now and shuffle the cards, and we're asking your angels and guides and my angels and guides to help give us insight and help illuminate those areas in our lives that need healing, where we have roadblocks and buttons and trauma and wounds that no longer serve a purpose for us other than to instruct us and to teach us who we are at our inner core of our being, what we value. And we are asking for not only healing, we're asking for profound healing. Profound healing. Okay? So as we go forward now, let's see what comes in the cards. And there's a lesson for all of us to learn. All of us to learn. All right. So what is the lesson? The lesson is that we have truth and untruth. We have things that we believe are true that are true. And we have things that we believe that are true that are not true. The truth, like if you go to YouTube, there's plenty of conspiracy theories out there. Half the people believe them, the other half don't. Well, someone's got to be right. So the people who believe it are either right or wrong, and the people who don't believe it are either right or wrong. Okay, so there is such a thing as a false truth, or, believe it or not, fake news. It's a silly thing, but yeah, a lot of people lie, a lot of people make things up. But we should always be seekers of truth. And when it comes to healing and being on earth as it is in heaven, we need to examine the things in our past that are wounds, the betrayals, the trauma, all these things that are unpleasant to deal with. But as we shed light on them and illuminate them, we begin to see truth. One of the tools that I have talked about in some of the videos is an important tool to reveal the truth. And that is the fourth step of the Alcoholics Anonymous program. I'm not saying you're an alcoholic. This has nothing to do with it. It's a tool to illuminate our past. And the point of it for the program is I do it differently. They only look at the moral aspect of your failings, your sins, basically. So they say do a fearless, first part, a fearless and searching moral inventory of your life. So how have I hurt people? What was my part in the past situations? How did where was I selfish? Okay, yes, that's important. That's one dimension, an important dimension. But I don't think it's gone far enough, because we're only able to admit certain things, but are we learning from it? Okay, and yes, they do learn from it. I'm not denying that. But when I've told this story before, I'll tell it real quickly, but when I was in the monastery, we ran a retreat center for all the anonymous groups, and if we didn't want to do the monk schedule, we could go to the anonymous meetings. So I went to this one meeting. It was my very first one ever. It permanently changed my life. And the topic of the meeting was the turning point in their recovery. And it was a men's meeting, and these men got up there and they're sharing their story that the turning point in their recovery was when they did their 4-step, which is to do a fearless and searching moral inventory of their life. And the next day I was in the chapel, and I'm like, oh, wow, that was so powerful. I can't believe how honest those guys were. I'm going to do that 4-step because I wanted what they had. They had freedom. They made sense of their past, and they understood their part in the madness. And so I literally spent one entire year, and I kept a notebook with me, and I always point here because in our what's called a habit, our monk's uniform, for lack of a better word, the long gown, we had a pocket, and I'd keep a little notebook in the pocket. And when I'd think about an old friend or an old story, I would pull out the notebook, and I'd write down the friend, the scenario, and then I'd go back, and at night, every single night, for 1 year solid, I would write and journal and journal and journal, and I'd learn and learn and learn. And in the beginning, you're like, what am I going to find out? That's why the step says to do a fearless moral inventory and searching. And to me, searching meant far more than what the book tells you to do. Like if you go online and you look up 4th step inventory, there's all kinds of websites and tools. Go ahead and get those. They're great. It's a great starting point. But people don't do the 4th step for a year. They do it for a week. They're like, okay, that's it. Yeah, this is what I did. I stole, a quarter from my grandfather, and they admit to certain things, which is great. But they're missing out on so much. Anyway, if you work with me, you'll learn my process. So, we're using that tool of journaling and doing this 4th step to illuminate the truth of what happened in the past. And when you can shed light on it, it's like putting a piece of a puzzle together. And when you put in a piece, and it's literally just like that, when you investigate and spend time and invest time in this one little piece, all of a sudden, the bigger picture begins, it takes time, but it begins to make sense. And for me, at some point, I'll probably share this story. Not today, no way. We're already 2 hours and 49 minutes into this recording. But I remember that one last piece, when I put it in that puzzle, the entire insanity of my upbringing and my past made sense. And I can tell you with 100% honesty and purity that I have completely and totally healed the pain from the past that did not make sense. Like it just did not make sense. What happened? And now I know. I get it. I totally get it. And I have zero ill will towards the person who was so painful. And it's not only, you know, having no ill will, but I can actually say, have compassion on the situation, put love on the situation, and know that that person is profoundly loved. All right. So hopefully you can do the same in your life. It's going to take work, and I want to help you with it. I can't do it for you, but I can teach you how to do it. So contact me at paul@meetyourangels.com, and we can do that. And then once you are able to take those fences down and you've illuminated the truth, you've used your tools to see where those buttons are and the wounds and the backstabbing, all that stuff. And then you can start a brand new cycle of stepping into heaven and being on earth as it is in heaven. And that is taking care of yourself. That is living in balance. That is the just thing to do, not only for you, but for the people in your past that you might have wrongly misunderstood. And in my case, see, we're children. When these wounds are created, we're children. And as we're adults, we're wounded again, but it's not really because of the person that's pushing the button. The person that's pushing the button, the wound was way back there from someone else. And I talked about this before. We need to be grateful for the person that pushed that button, so that now today we can examine it and say, oh gosh, he pushed a button. Where's this coming from? It's not coming from right now. It's coming from back there. Go back and examine the button. That's the tool. That's the process. And that's going to set you free. That is how you enter heaven on earth. Okay, my friends, I love you. You're profoundly loved. And keep coming back. Our process is going to be different, but you're out of the boot camp. You need to go back and watch all the boot camp videos. Okay, but there's no more training wheels. This message was enough. This one message was enough for you to enter heaven, to be in heaven, and to remain in heaven. Because we're not going to go back. We are not going back and living in the very heavy past life of ours. Okay? Oh, past life. I can't stop yet, guys. One more thing. For the people who believe in karma, karma is when we keep coming back, and having multiple lives over and over and over. Because we're not learning the lessons. We have to pay our karmic debt. How many more times do you want to come back and relive this trauma and the past? How many times? Why don't we heal it now, pay our karmic debt now, and then we can be on earth as it is in heaven. Our reward for paying the karmic debt is heaven. Don't ever want to come back like the way you're thinking. Reincarnation and karma, let's pay the debt. This is the lifetime. I'm telling you, this is the lifetime. The last one. Pay it off. Let's live on earth as it is in heaven right now. All right? Take care, Capricorn. We'll see you tomorrow. Share the video with your friends. Take care. Aquarius, how are you doing today? Welcome back. This has been a very long video, and if you have not watched the first part of this video called Angel Insights, then you need to go and watch it, because that will give you a really good understanding of why this is the last day of our Angel Boot Camp. So all the videos for the past week, where we've looked at every single sign and had messages for all the signs, did card readings, while those signs are important for those signs, the readings are important for those signs, they are important for all of us. So I need us all to go back and watch them, including myself, and to learn those lessons. These are not lessons that I came up with. These are universal truths. I'm only echoing back what you already know, and that they're tools for you to just move on and to be on earth as it is in heaven. Okay, enough said of that. Let's start our angel reading, the card reading. I'm asking your angels and my angels to help give you and me insight, and all of us insight into what we need to heal, what we need to illuminate from our past, the wounds, the buttons, the tragedies, the betrayals, anything in the past that has caused us to prevent us from living on earth as it is in heaven today. Okay? All right. So let's see what comes up for the Aquarius. This is interesting, Aquarius. All right. All right. So, Aquarius, I've been calling you a leader from the beginning. You are a leader. You are extremely intelligent and brilliant. You're motivational. And you can do it all with a smile. Aquarius are charming. They are what I call flirts. Like, it's just, they know how to work with people and make people feel good. And for those of us that aren't Aquarians, we need to learn those skills. How do you make people feel good? How do we be leaders and stuff like that? And so what's interesting is, as a leader, a healthy leader is not doing it for themselves. They're doing it for all of us. Like, they're ushering us in so that we can work together to have an incredible life. And they're mentors, they're guides, they are cheerleaders, and they are people to listen to. Okay? They're important. Okay? But this came up in yesterday's reading, which is interesting. I had mentioned that perhaps some of the Aquarians, because of COVID, have been at home and they're like, well, I'm not working today. I can have an extra drink. And so the word is temperance, being sober, sobriety, and living in balance. And so for anyone who is struggling with addiction, and it doesn't matter what kind of addiction, there's many, 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 many kinds of addiction. We need to learn to be sober. And there's no magical recipe. It's hard, okay? And so we're not talking about Aquarius now. We're talking about all of us. And that is to find a support network and to really understand and figure out, what are we medicating? Why are we addicted to this other thing? What are we avoiding? There's a wound in here that is painful. And to escape, I'll just have an extra drink today. Yeah, and it helps you let your hair down, but over time, a drink, even if it's just one drink, okay, one drink's not going to kill you. But until you address what's going on, you're just delaying the inevitable. Like, you have to look at what needs to be healed. Okay. Now, as I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist, and therapy is great. Okay, but not everyone can go and do therapy. On my website at hypnomart.com, there are many different recordings about addiction and how to help you with addiction, all kinds of addiction, alcohol, marijuana, porn, blah, blah, blah. I did not record those videos. I am a affiliate of a company that, see, I used to make all those videos, and it was a lot of work. And, because I was seeing clients and all this stuff. Now I'm making videos, which is funny. But, the recordings, like you had to make DVD, CDs, and it was just a lot of manual labor. So I found this company to work with, and they have now over 1,200 different recordings on all these different topics, and they are excellent. I'm giving my approval. I really believe in them. I go for it, And it doesn't have to just be for addiction, but it's for everything you can imagine. If you want to sleep at night, I mentioned earlier, the number one thing that people want help with is insomnia. Go to the insomnia section, etc. Okay. But the point is that if we're using substances to avoid what's going on, because it's too painful right now to look at, I say, well, you know what? If you've listened to all these recordings, there's an old saying, there's no time like the present. What are you waiting for? Like, you're going to be fine. Drink your water. Aquarius is supposed to be drinking water instead of drinking booze. Booze is not the same as water. It's the opposite. It's a poison, all right? Your body doesn't like it. And so start drinking your water, use some tools, maybe go to the 12-step programs if that's they're great. I'm not an alcoholic. I've never been drunk in my life ever once. I've never taken drugs, but I've been to every kind of anonymous meeting you can imagine because I lived at the retreat center for all the anonymous groups. I've been to alcoholics, cocaine, food, gambling, sex. I've been to a crystal meth one. Because, I've worked with the homeless for 30 years. 30 years. And if someone was struggling, I made sure that they knew how to get to a meeting. So that Narcotics Anonymous and the interesting thing is, so like with crystal meth, in the old days, there were no crystal meth meetings. They had Narcotics Anonymous, and the meetings were huge because there were so many people that were on drugs that the courts would require them to get help. And so I would take the crystal meth people to the meeting. Well, knowing what I know about crystal meth, and, they would be sitting, and if someone's struggling with cocaine or heroin, or, they're different. They're very different. And after 10 years of trying to get people to go to Narcotics Anonymous, finally, because I live in the San Diego area, this crystal meth meeting shows up, and I took people to it, and I've never taken it in my life. I have no clue what it personally does. I know what it does to me witnessing these people on crystal meth. I know that. But I go to this meeting, and the people are talking about their crystal meth addiction, and how their lives have been completely overturned and what it's done. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, like this is what we've needed for all these years. My friends, are crystal meth addicts. And so no matter what your addiction, try to find your specific support group for that, because they're out there. And it's a wonderful tool. I love anonymous meetings. I'm not an addict, but I love them. They are so revealing. I learned so much from them. They're encouraging. And if you've never been to one, even if you're not an addict, go. They have what are called open meetings. And if you look at the schedule, if it says it's open, anyone can go. You do not have to be an addict. They do not make you talk. You can just be there and observe. So maybe that's some homework. I've never actually told someone to do that who wasn't an addict. But you know what? I think it'll it'll help people. That's how I got my start on a lot of the tools that I've used to help other people for 30 years. All right, Aquarius, that's the message. Just live a sober life, live in balance, and try to work on things that are not serving you. Be healthy, all right? And be the leader that you are. You're incredible. You are not loved, you are profoundly loved. And keep coming back. And tomorrow's session will be different, and but it'll still be good, hopefully. And contact me at paul@meetyourangels.com, and we can work together if you'd like to. We'll see you next time, Aquarius. Okay, Pisces, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for waiting. You're always the last sign, and I feel sorry for that. But you, they say we save the best for last, right? If you haven't listened to the beginning of this recording, please go back and listen to the first part, which is called the Angel Insight. And that will explain why today this says no more training wheels. This is going to be the last day of our Angel Boot Camp, where we've been having every day these daily angel readings for each sign, zodiac sign. And your homework going forward is, when you have time, is to listen to all of those recordings, the boot camp recordings, for every sign, because each sign, all of us, no matter what sign, need to learn the lessons, because we're all in this together, all right? And so you take your time, and it doesn't have to be done, just take your time. Don't let it overwhelm you. But today what we're going to do is our final reading in the boot camp, which is a lesson that we all need to learn. And it's a gift that the Pisces is giving all of us, this lesson. And we're asking your angels and my angels to give us insight and to illuminate those areas in our lives that we need healing, and where we can identify the stumbling blocks, the wounds, the betrayals, the buttons that we have, so that we can go back and heal them and have compassion on them, to forgive those people involved, so that together, all of us, even the ones that have hurt us, can live together on earth as it is in heaven. Okay, Pisces, so let's see what the message for all of us is. Okay, well, this is fascinating because, well, I know this to be true for Pisces, but for all of us, it's a great end to the boot camp, because this is the end of the boot camp, is that we're all in this journey, and a lot of us think, think that somehow heaven comes after this life, after we die. And this life is a struggle, and, yeah, okay. But the message over and over and over again, and the whole point of this whole channel, is that heaven is not after we die. Heaven is right here, right now. Right here, right now. And for those that are Christians, when you say the prayer, the Our Father, you say, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." On earth as it is in heaven. So, now, you guys have only heard me say that part of the prayer. Now, what's the other part of the prayer that we never pay attention to? Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. What that means is, use my ability to forgive as the ruler on how to forgive me, Lord. Like when you're accepting me into heaven, I want you to look at how I've forgiven everyone in my life with all the wounds, all the buttons, all the backstabbing, all the tragedies. Use my ability to forgive others as the ruler, as the measure of how you're going to accept me to come into heaven. Yikes. Are you sure you want to say that prayer? How many times have you personally said that prayer? Well, if you've ever said it, once is enough. Like, we don't have to ask God over and over and over again of what we want. He heard you the first time. So if anyone listening has ever said that prayer, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. We're in big trouble unless right here, right now, we are open and willing to say, Lord, please help me. Give me the strength to be able to forgive, which means to love. Forgiveness is a dimension of love. And then the card that has come up, the significant card here, is that when we do that, everything is illuminated. We have to ask for the help. Be open. Lord, please show me the way. And in that, we have to have courage. Courage to do the work, to examine what happened back there, so that when God takes out his ruler, he's going to say, wow, Paul, you were so generous in your forgiveness. You went through a bunch of crap. You were backstabbed. You did, this happened to you, that happened to you, and you still forgave. You were generous in your forgiveness. And they say, blessed are the merciful. Mercy shall be theirs. See how the Bible works? Blessed are the merciful. Mercy shall be theirs. When it comes time for God to take that ruler, the ruler that we created, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom, yours is the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Meaning, we think we're in charge. We think it's all about me, it's ridiculous. We have nothing to do with it. We're just only a facet of all one being. We're so selfish, so self-absorbed. We want it all our way. But when we can bring the sun out and illuminate the truth, what happened back there is we were not innocent lambs. We have provoked people. We have done things that we perhaps should not be so proud of, huh? Right? We have sinned. And it says in the Bible, let he who has never sinned cast the first stone. Who among you has never sinned? Go ahead and cast the first stone. And then it says in the Bible, why are you looking at the speck in your brother's eye when you've got a plank in your own? It's hilarious. This is the Bible, and this is what people have as their faith. I'm a Christian. I was raised Catholic. I believe that this is the way. These are universal truths, and it doesn't matter what faith you believe in. It's true, because we all have the golden rule. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. What is the greatest commandment? To love God, to love your neighbors as yourself, and to love your enemies. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. So, are you sure the ruler you've been using is the one you want God to use on you? Or are you ready to make a new ruler? Are we going to remember that happy are the merciful, for mercy shall be theirs? And the last thing to really remember, and this is from the Bible as well, is that God's mercy outweighs his judgment. Our sins have been purchased. We have been redeemed. If we take that coupon and go to the grocery store and we have to hand it over to the cashier, we don't get it back. This is what God has done with our sins. He has already forgiven us, but we are the stumbling block. We are the ones that get in the way of living on earth as it is in heaven because of what's back here. So, be gentle with the past. Be courageous. Don't have fear about what you're going to find out. It's okay. God already knows this stuff, but you need to know that. So now we can have the metamorphosis. So like the caterpillar who thinks everything's fine, they're just going on with life. And then all of a sudden, the cocoon comes. It gets so difficult to be a caterpillar. And people find it difficult to be on this planet. They even contemplate suicide. But then when they are open to the metamorphosis, to the change, to have a metanoia, which means a change of heart, which is what we're talking about here, then they can break free and eventually spread their wings and fly and be the beautiful butterfly that they were meant to be. And that's all of us. We are sons and daughters of God. Every breath that you take, every breath that I take, God is still choosing us as his vessel to live. Amen? Amen. All right, everyone. If you'd like to work with me, please email me at paul@meetyourangels.com. This is so profound. We all need this. We all need to heal, and this is what it's all about. I'm a healer, but you're a healer. Let's do it together, okay? Because life is short. What are we waiting for? We're offered paradise, all right? And what did Jesus say on the cross? He's dying, and he looks over to the guy next to him, who's a criminal. And that guy, a sinner, says, my God, or he says, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And Jesus says, I solemnly assure you, today you will be with me in paradise. All right? I love you. You are profoundly loved. Let's go for it. We'll see you tomorrow. And go back and watch every single solitary one of these messages from the beginning of our boot camp. Those alone will create and heal you in every aspect and dimension. There's tools that I've mentioned. You can do those on your own. If you need help, I'm here for you. I want to work with you. And we can get this over with as soon as possible so that we can truly be free to be the sons and daughters of God and to live life for God as he's asked us to. All right? All right, take care. We'll see you next time. Here's some information for you. If you enjoyed today's video and would like to help support my work, please send your donation via PayPal or Venmo to paul@meetyourangels.com. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and share this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and click the notification bell. If you'd like to keep in touch, go ahead and check out the description below. All of my social media contact information is there. Thanks. If you have any special prayer requests that you'd like me and the rest of our MeetYourAngels.com community to pray for, please visit http://prayerrequests.meetyourangels.com, and that will forward you to our perpetual prayer list video on YouTube. In the comments of that video, leave your prayer intentions so that the rest of the community can join you in those intentions that you hold deep in your heart. If you would like to try hypnosis for free at home, please go to subscribe.hypnomark.com and get over 15 free hypnosis recordings and a free video course, How to Learn Hypnosis in 5 Days. Again, go to subscribe.hypnomark.com. Join our Growth Zone and save up to 40% off all downloads and scripts. Visit 40%.hypnomark.com for more information and to subscribe. If you are interested in promoting our hypnosis products, you can earn up to 70% commission. Visit affiliates.hypnomark.com for more information. So that'll do it for today. I wanted to thank you for being part of my angel family. I look forward to being with you again sometime soon. Please visit meetyourangels.com or send me an email at paul@meetyourangels.com if you're interested in a private angel reading, Reiki healing session, or spiritual direction and angel coaching. Until then, peace and love always.